Okay, so let's dive into Anton Chekhov's masterpiece, Uncle Vanya. Now, I get it, a 19th century Russian play. It sounds kind of heavy, maybe even a little slow, right? But trust me, this story, it's all about regret, boredom, and messy, unrequited love. And it feels so incredibly modern. It really gets at that terrifying feeling when you just wake up one day and think, wait, have I completely wasted my entire life? And this line from Dr. Astrov, wow, it just perfectly nails the mood of the whole thing. He says, I've grown old, I've worked too hard, my feelings are dead. See, this isn't just someone having a bad day. This is a soul-crushing exhaustion, a kind of spiritual burnout that's infecting every single character. That's our starting point here, this deep, sinking feeling that the best parts of your life are already in the rearview mirror. So you gotta wonder, where is all this despair coming from? Well, that brings us to our first part, a world asleep. Because a huge part of the problem is the place itself. We're on this remote country estate where, honestly, time has just sort of stopped. Every single day is the same as the last. Think of it like a beautiful, sun-drenched prison.
And the perfect word for this feeling is ennui. It's so much more than just being bored. It's that deep, gnawing feeling in your gut that you're just stuck, dissatisfied, like you're trapped without any real purpose. You could almost say this feeling is the invisible main character of the whole play, and it has its claws in absolutely everyone. So, who are the poor souls stuck in this rut? Well, first up, you've got the man himself, Ivan, or Vanya. He's 47, and he is having the midlife crisis to end all midlife crises, just realizing he's thrown his whole life away for basically nothing. Then there's his niece, Sonia. She's hardworking, she's kind, but she's hopelessly in love with a guy who barely knows she exists. And finally, there's Dr. Astrov. He's this overworked country doctor who's so disillusioned with humanity that he pours all his passion into saving forests. It's his way of coping, really, because he's lost faith in saving people, including himself. And Vanya's own words here, man, they are just heartbreaking. My life is over. I was brilliant, clever, brave. Now I'm nothing. That is the sound of a life's potential just souring into pure regret. He feels like a ghost, just haunted by the person he thought he was going to be. And this bitterness, it's been simmering under the surface for years, just waiting for something, anything to make it explode. And then the spark arrives. It comes in the form of two people, which brings us to our next section, the beautiful disruption. The people who light the fuse are this retired professor, Serebryakov, and his much younger, incredibly beautiful wife, Yelena. They just crash into this sleepy, stagnant world and shake everything up, and not for the better. So this professor, he's not just some random visitor. Oh no, this is the guy that Vanya has dedicated his entire life to supporting. For decades, Vanya has run this estate, scrimping and saving, sending every penny to fund the professor's supposedly brilliant academic career. But now that the guy is here in person, Vanya's starting to see him for what he really is, a pompous, selfish fraud. And that is a tough pill to swallow. And then, of course, there's Yelena. She is absolutely stunning. But here's the thing. She's just as bored and miserable as everybody else. She's not a villain. She doesn't do anything. But her beauty is like a bomb. Her sheer presence just shatters the quiet desperation of the place. All the men fall for her, and it just throws a giant spotlight on how deeply unhappy everyone already was. So naturally, with her arrival, all those feelings that were bottled up for years, they just erupt into total chaos. We're not talking about a simple love triangle here. Oh no, it's way, way messier than that. Okay, just look at this tangled web of feelings. It is a complete mess. You've got Sonia, who is head over heels for Dr. Astrov. But does Astrov love her back? Nope. He's completely smitten with Yelena. And who else is smitten with Yelena? You guessed it, Uncle Vanya. And Yelena, she can't love any of them back because she's trapped in this miserable marriage. It's a perfect storm of frustration where literally nobody gets what they want. It's painful. So you've got all this resentment, right? The wasted years, the unrequited love, the soul-crushing boredom. It's all been building up like a pressure cooker. And it has to explode. And that explosion is the play's climax. A moment that is somehow explosive, tragic, and, believe it or not, darkly hilarious all at once. So how does it all go down? Okay, picture this. Step 1. The professor gets everyone together and casually announces his big plan. He's going to sell the estate. The one place that is Vanya and Sonya's home, the place they've poured their blood, sweat, and tears into. Step 2. That is the last straw for Vanya. He just erupts, accusing the professor of being a hack who has ruined his life. And then, step 3, Vanya grabs a pistol.
He fires it, not once, but twice, at pretty much point-blank range. And this is the absolute genius of Chekhov. Because Vanya misses. He misses both times. This huge, dramatic moment of rebellion, his one big stand, and it ends up being a complete and utter failure. It's just tragically funny. I mean, just listen to his words. To have shot and list. It perfectly captures his despair. It's bad enough to feel like your whole life has been a waste. But to finally snap, to have your one big moment of violent revenge, and to fail at that, he can't even get revenge right. He is so pathetic in that moment, he can't even succeed at murder. So, after this huge explosion, this gunshot-filled climax, what comes next? You might expect some big resolution, right? Nope. What comes next is quiet. Just this incredibly awkward, deafening silence. The rage changed nothing. The gunshot solved nothing. Everyone is just left standing there, embarrassed, and even more miserable than before.
So, where do you even go from there? What do you do after a moment like that? Well, the climax fails, and the play moves into its quiet, heartbreaking final act. The people who caused all the trouble just leave, and everyone else has to figure out how to just keep on living.
That's right. The professor and Yelena, they just pack up and leave. They take all their drama and chaos with them and just disappear. And they leave Vanya and Sonya behind in that silence to pick up the pieces. And the thing is, their lives are exactly the same as they were before the visit, except now they are painfully, crushingly aware of just how unhappy they really are. And this brings us to the end of the play, with some of the most famous and frankly devastating lines in all of theater, spoken by Sonya. She's trying to comfort Vanya, but she doesn't offer him any hope for this life. Instead, she tells him they just have to work, they have to endure, and their only reward, their only rest, will come after they die. It's this incredible mix of resilience and just profound sadness.
And that's really the core question that Chekhov leaves us to chew on, isn't it? Sonya's answer to all this pain is just work. To bury your sorrow, to keep your hands busy, and to just keep going until the end. And you have to wonder, is that a noble way to deal with a broken heart? Or is work just the best distraction we've got from a pain that's too big to face? Something to think about.